up, students? This is Drew back with another quarantine thought, and already some of you have realized that there has been something that changed, and it's bugging you, right? It's different than all the other videos. There's something different. What is it? Well, that's right. We don't have a whiteboard, but more importantly than that, I got a haircut, y'all. This is my first haircut of this quarantine, and it reminds me of something. This is quarantine thought number 6. Here's the thought. You ready? Because I'm not, because I don't remember how I worded it in my head, but I got a haircut, and that's the thought. Change happens. Things change. We're outside. It's outside of our control. We can't do anything about it. There are things in our life that when they change, we freak out a little bit. Maybe you experienced this during the quarantine. When this first happened and everything started to get canceled, there's this feeling of panic, of lack of control. One of our seniors actually did a great job of talking about this in Quarantine Thoughts number 4. You should go back and listen to it if you haven't. But here's why I bring it up today, because now at this point, I think we're at a place where change has become normal. That's the only thing that's stayed constant in this whole experience, is that our lives are different. And if we're not willing to go with the flow to some point, to be okay with change, to be okay with things not being the way they are, then we are losing our minds a little bit, right? We have to be okay with it to survive. And here's a change. I mentioned I got my haircut, which you don't know by looking at it, she did a great job, is my haircut was actually from my wife, Sarah. And you should also know that several years ago, she cut my hair for the first time, and we were young in our marriage and in love, and I thought she could do no wrong. And so I let her try and cut my hair, and she does wrong, people. Just know this about my wife. And she did wrong on that haircut. There are pictures of me from a great trip we took looking not good. I will not ever show those pictures. You won't ever get to see them. They're not on Facebook. I've scrubbed all of them. Instagram, nope, not gonna find them because it was so bad. And so for me to let Sarah cut my hair again shows you that my flexibility about such things has changed a lot, right? Like I was so desperate to get a haircut that I was talking to a friend of mine today. It's like basically anybody holding scissors right now looks like a barber to me. And I was willing to let even Sarah cut my hair. Everything has changed, and yet there's at least one thing that stayed the same. And you know, because this is put out from Covenant Church and the student ministry, that I'm probably going to talk about Jesus, and you're right. The one thing that has stayed constant in all of this is God himself. And we experience God through understanding who Jesus is according to Scripture and his impact on our lives. And there's some verses that I wanted to share with you today about that exact thing, that what makes God stay the same is his nature, it's his character, it's who he is. He is faithful. 2 Timothy 2, verse 11 says, "Here's a trustworthy saying, if we died with him, we also will live with him." So it's talking about the gospel. If we give our life to Jesus, if we die to ourselves, we live in his freedom that he extends to us. We're approved. We're declared righteous by God. We're alive. That's a good part of this, right? But then it keeps going. If we endure, if we keep going when things are hard, if we endure in our faith, we will also reign with him. Not reign like the sky. Reign as in a king reigns. And then if we disown him, this is where it starts going south a little bit. If we disown him, he will also disown us. Meaning if we don't put our faith in Jesus, then that means that we're choosing a life apart from him. And then when we die, we spend an eternity apart from him. It's painful, but it's true. Again, the hope is that it's based on his work for us, that we can have faith and we can have life. It's available to you. So if that's you, don't let your story in there. But it goes on. This is the crucial part I want to focus on. If we are faithless, he remains faithful, for he cannot disown himself. Did you catch that? Everything may change in your life, and everything probably has changed over the last weeks, but know this, God has not changed. He is the same yesterday, today, and forever, and his faithfulness towards you is available. His offer of life, his offer of peace, his offer of himself, his presence is available to you right now. So maybe like me, you've changed some things about yourself. You're willing to get haircuts from crazy places. But understand this, there is a God who loves you, who changed everything in your world. If you would just receive and believe in Jesus, your life can be changed as well. And you can trust that he's going to be faithful to you, not because of who you are, not because of what you do, it's because of who he is. Not just what he does, but who God is. He is faithful. He will never disown himself. So I hope you've experienced that in this quarantine. And here's my question for today. How have you seen God's faithfulness? How have you seen it? And if you haven't thought about that, take a moment right now and think about it. consider that question because there's an answer to be found and it is powerful. God is with you, He's for you, and He's faithful. How can you look for His faithfulness this week? This was our final quarantine thought. It's been quite a journey. Thanks for going on it with us. Hopefully we'll be back soon and meeting in person. This will be the last of the teaching videos until then. So again, remember this, as everything changes, as it continues to change, God is faithful.